Forget the iPhone 13 lineup. Well, at least for now, because when most people are looking to buy a new phone, their inclination is just to buy whatever's newest or best. But the average person in question isn't going to use 3/4 of the newest phone's features. Therefore, if you fit into this category, but you also enjoy the odd luxury, then you could save a decent bit of money while also getting a solid handset by going for a second-hand iPhone 11 Pro Max. No, it might not be the latest and greatest anymore, or have some of the new mind-boggling camera features, but the 11 Pro Max is the value king of 2021. After 2 years, it still sports great performance, solid cameras, a gorgeous display, and best of all, great prices on the used market. And so if you're after not top of the line specs, but specs that are pretty close to that, then stay tuned, because today I'm going to be going over each aspect of the iPhone 11 Pro Max from a 2021 perspective, while also taking a look at whether it's the right phone for you to buy, and if you're currently using one, should you upgrade? So, starting off with the design, the iPhone 11 Pro Max still looks and feels top of the line after 2 years, especially if you get the gold one, which in my right opinion is the best color option. I remember at the time though, people were really skeptical about the looks of the 3 cameras, although Apple has kept this design around for the 12 and 13 Pros, and I guess it kind of just grew on people. But all in all, the looks and feel of the 11 Pro Max are still solid and premium, with the stainless steel sides and the frosted glass back, which feels great to touch while also repelling fingerprints. One thing that makes the 11 Pro Max feel a bit dated though is the notch on the display housing the Face ID components, although personally I don't really find the notch to be that big of a deal, and I kind of just subconsciously tune it out while watching videos. Plus, Face ID on here is admittedly very good, as it's able to recognize my face from a wide array of angles, and very quickly might I add. Although obviously due to the pandemic and everyone wearing masks, at this point in time it's nowhere near as convenient as a fingerprint scanner. It's also worth mentioning that the 11 Pro Max and the rest of the 11 series are the last to sport the rounded edges, as the iPhone 12s the following year switched to completely flat sides. I actually owned a 12 mini for a while before switching to the 11 Pro Max, and at least for me, these curved edges are a lot more comfortable to hold, and they actually look better too in my opinion, although obviously everyone is going to feel different about this. Now, I'd actually like to just take a moment to appreciate just how good the speakers are on here, and I'm absolutely blown away at just how bassy and rich the sound quality is on just a smartphone. So if you're a bit of an audiophile, you definitely won't be disappointed here. But one thing you really should know is that the 11 Pro Max is definitely thick with as many Cs as possible, sporting a thickness of 8.1mm and a 6.5-inch display size, so it is going to feel quite hefty in your pocket, as well as quite difficult to use one-handed. And if you've got a case, particularly a folding one, well, let's just say it's not going to end well if you have small pockets. Despite the monstrous size though, I will agree that the enormous beautiful display definitely makes up for it. On the 11 Pro Max, we're looking at a 6.5-inch OLED panel with a resolution of 2688 by 1242 and a pixel density of 458 pixels per inch. Being only 2 years old, the display on the 11 Pro Max still doesn't fall short in any way at all, as the high-end specs combined with the sheer size will create a viewing experience that's very hard to complain about. But it's only fair for me to mention that the iPhone 13 series has finally added a 120Hz ProMotion display on the 13 Pros, and so in that aspect, the 11 Pro Max's display does fall behind. Nevertheless though, the 60Hz refresh rate will be absolutely fine for the vast majority of people. I mean, sure, 120Hz is a super buttery experience, but it's not absolutely essential, so don't worry too much about it. But all in all, the display on the 11 Pro Max is still absolutely gorgeous, being OLED with a high resolution and pixel density, not to mention the enormous size, and games to YouTube videos to articles and documents are all going to look superb. Superb, I think that's also a pretty good word to describe the camera setup on the 11 Pro Max. Even though smartphone camera technology advances so fast with each passing year, the iPhone 11 Pro Max's age doesn't really play a part in how great photos and video can look. This phone sports 12 megapixel main, telephoto, ultra-wide and selfie cameras, and after 2 years, these shooters still do a fantastic job, and they're still very high-end, capturing tons of detail and making colors pop. And in addition to that, there's also some other knickknacks, like night mode, which allows you to get a much better image in dark scenarios, and will still blow you away at how it can perform. Now, being 2 years old, newer models have brought improvements to the cameras, such as Apple ProRAW, but you won't really be able to see the difference unless you put them side by side. All in all though, the camera setup on the 11 Pro Max still holds up incredibly well, and I can safely say that you won't be disappointed at all. We also get 2x optical zoom and 10x digital zoom, as well as a 0.5x zoom on the ultra-wide. Now, the telephoto and ultra-wide lenses do have a significant drop in quality, but unless you zoom in, you can't really tell, and both of these still produce top-end images. As for video recording, again, just like the photos, there's really nothing to be disappointed about here. The 11 Pro Max can record at 4K at up to 60 frames per second on all cameras, and surprise surprise, it still looks incredible. Again, newer iPhones have brought features like sensor shift stabilization and the new cinematic mode, so the 11 Pro Max doesn't support the absolute best video anymore. But that doesn't mean the 11 Pro Max still doesn't shoot very, very good video, as you can see here, and I'm perfectly happy with it. Moving on to the performance, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is definitely still in a league of its own, sporting the Apple A13 Bionic chipset and 4GB of RAM. As I've said many times before, Apple does an amazing job when it comes to optimizing all the devices and making them last, and the 11 Pro Max is definitely no exception. Performance on here is still basically flagship level, and anything you throw at this phone, it'll be able to handle with ease and feel buttery. From intense gaming, to video editing, to even light tasks like reading an article, nothing on here is even going to feel remotely slow, and this will be the case for many years to come. I've actually just installed the official version of iOS 15 on here, and I can safely say that there's been no noticeable compromise in terms of speed when compared to iOS 14. So if high-end performance is something you're after in a smartphone, then the 11 Pro Max won't let you down at all. Now, battery life is also another area that makes the iPhone 11 Pro Max feel like it hasn't aged a day. Obviously, big phone means a big 3969 mAh battery, and big battery means that for moderate to light users, you'll get at least a day, maybe 2 or 3 at the most, before you'll have to plug it in. And for heavy users, it'll still get you through a single day no problem at all. The battery life on here is just so good, and it's far from causing any problems for me, even after activities like hours of filming 4K video, using my hotspot all day, and playing heavy games. The battery life is actually the reason I got this phone, as I was previously using a 12 mini, which would struggle to last a full day because of its small battery, combined with my heavy usage. So when I sold it and bought the 11 Pro Max, I was absolutely blown away at just how long this thing could last on just one charge. So yeah, in a nutshell, this is still one of the best phones in terms of battery life, and anyone who's currently using one is sure to agree with me. And so, to sum everything up, the iPhone 11 Pro Max still boasts extremely high-end specs, and has a great user experience. I mean, after all, it was released as a flagship, so it's probably not too surprising that this is still a great phone, but 2 years is still a significant chunk of time in the fast-moving world of tech. Nevertheless, the 11 Pro Max has aged really well, and there isn't a single aspect about it that feels dated, although maybe that notch, but we don't talk about that. Jokes aside though, you're still getting a gorgeous display, advanced cameras, a battery life to last you a day or more, and blazing fast performance. So I'm sure that the answer won't come as a surprise, but if you're still using an 11 Pro Max, then you don't need to upgrade for quite some time, as it will last you as long as 5 to 6 years down the line. Although if you want or need the best in terms of cameras, you'll probably want to take a look at the most recent 13s or 13 Pros, because they sport more features and better hardware than the 11 Pros. Everything else though is still really good, so again, you don't need to look at upgrading unless it's for the cameras. In terms of actually buying one, well, I've just bought this one about a month ago, and I've absolutely loved it. So if you don't need the absolute best specs, but you need really good specs, then this phone is definitely worth taking a look at on the used and refurbished market, since Apple doesn't sell it new anymore. Prices for the 11 Pro Max right now can range from $800 all the way up to $1,300, depending on storage variation and condition, but with the release of the iPhone 13 series, these prices should drop a bit in the coming months, so maybe don't buy one right now, just wait until that happens. Although, admittedly, Apple is still selling the downgraded iPhone 11 brand new for $849 Australian, which is around the same as you'd get for an 11 Pro Max on Gumtree, maybe a bit less. So if you don't like buying used, or you want to save even more money, then the 11 is still solid, as it sports the same processor as the 11 Pro Max, although it does have a downgraded display as well as a less premium design and no telephoto lens. So if you can live with those things, then the 11 is still a great phone. Also, I wouldn't pay anything above $1,000 for an iPhone 11 Pro Max, as the iPhone 12 and 13 series aren't that much more, and with those you're getting significantly better cameras as well as better longevity. For mine, I paid $800 for one in pretty good condition, so if you can find one between that and $1,000, then I'd say definitely go for it, as the iPhone 11 Pro Max is still extremely high-end, with specs that will last you for years to come. And so that pretty much wraps up my 2021 review of the iPhone 11 Pro Max. If you enjoyed this video, or found it helpful in any way, please make sure you drop me a like and subscribe to TechSpree for more reviews, comparisons, and the occasional unboxing. Thank you so much for watching. This is Tom with TechSpree, and I'll see you as always next time.